Kayla. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. I'm Kim Allison with my new YouTube channel. It's called Trendy with Kim Allison, where I talk about all things hair, fashion, trends, all of the things. So, being that I am a hairstylist, the last, oh gosh, I counted the other day. I've been saying 26, but it's actually been 29. Like, I digress. That is ridiculous. I thought, wouldn't it be great just to bring a host of stylists and see where we go with this? I think it's a lot of fun. And thank you again for being my second guest.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, so Kayla, let's talk a little bit about your journey and what brought you to hair.
That's such a great question. I feel like my answer is so basic, but ever since I was younger, I always wanted to do hair. Um, I don't know if I was just naive or what, but I didn't even get my hair done, ironically, for the first time until I was in hair school and I had gotten it messed up. So I had to go to a salon to fix it. But I just loved makeup, hair, everything kind of to do with the industry. And I just knew it was always something I wanted to do. And when I got to high school, they had a program where you could go to high school for half the day, your junior, senior year, and then you could go to hair school. And so I decided to do that and just kind of see if I liked it. And I ended up loving it. And I had always wanted to go to an out of state college. So once I decided, like, wait, this is what I want to do the rest of my life, I was like, I need to move somewhere and get kind of like that experience. So I moved to North Dakota
Oh,
and
wow.
transferred and finished hair school in North
Wait,
Dakota.
where are you from originally?
So I'm from here,
Oh, okay.
family in North Dakota. So I wanted to go to an out of state college, but then since I decided to just do hair, I was like, okay, so I want to move somewhere new, but I don't want to move somewhere where I don't know anyone. So that was North Dakota for me. So
Oh, wow.
about halfway through my education, I transferred to North Dakota and finished up there. And then maybe like 3 months later, moved home and started assisting. So I was only gone for maybe like a year. But yeah,
Wow, that's so brave.
I know. It was honestly so fun. And I feel like I got kind of like the best of both worlds,
What
because
did you get from there that was different than here?
well, it's crazy. So people don't really assist there. Maybe
Hmm.
it's different now, but I feel like because a lot of it's like small towns and things like that, people don't really assist. You kind of go to school and
Hmm.
then start working. So I feel like I learned so much in school that when I moved home and I started assisting, I felt like I had a really good understanding
Hmm.
of color lines and all the things. So I don't know if the education was just more hands-on or what, but we actually got to do I think they had Redken, Matrix, Rusk, all the things that hair schools use, but we also had Aveda. So I also learned Aveda and it was not an Aveda school. I think it was like one of the only ones that kind of got grandfathered in. So I learned all the things about so many different color lines right in school. So when I became an assistant, I think it was really easy to kind of pick up on those kinds of things. But
Yeah.
other than that, I don't know. I feel like
Well,
I feel like
I
good
asked I
education.
asked because, geographically, we wear
Mhm.
our hair differently.
Yep.
Like how they wear their hair in North Dakota, very
Yep.
different than
Yep.
Arizona. So if you're getting your training there and you're being taught, right,
Right,
what
right.
they what the trend is, I guess, if you
Mhm.
will, there. The good news and what I heard and what you said was that Evada was a
Yep,
part of your training because
yep.
that's global.
Right, right.
So they're going to teach you one thing,
Yeah.
across the
And
board.
I think the hair that hair's come such a long way since, even
Mhm.
the last 6 years since I've been out of school, but I think now hair's kind of evolved so much. At the time it
Yeah.
was still kind of, like the very basic highlights and toners and root colors and roller sets and all that kind of stuff. But luckily, I feel like that's pretty universal to with
Yeah.
teacher
Oh, for
schooling, you
sure.
know, and doing all that kind of stuff. So, but when I graduated, I was like, okay, we need to assist. There's still so much more to learn. So I moved back here and got a job assisting.
Yeah. So that being with that said, where
Mhm.
was your first job?
So I got a job working with a stylist named Nikki Lewis up at Ryan M Salon in North Scottsdale.
Okay.
And I assisted there for probably about a year and a half-ish. And then ended up moving to a different salon, and kind of that's where I kind of started out assisting there and kind of built my clientele at the second salon. But I first started out assisting at Ryan M.
And how long did you have to work at the other salon while you were building your clientele before you went to the studio life? And what made you make that transition?
So when I was working at Ryan M, I kind like there was like so many expectations. It was kind of like they had like a structured assistant program, I guess, if you will. And I learned so much there, and I was just like obsessed. And I just really wanted to kind of like start working and take my career kind of to the next level. And I feel like there was just more out there. So when I
Mhm.
moved to the second salon, I assisted there for a little bit just to kind of have like a steady stream of income. And on the days that I wasn't assisting, I would take my own clients. And then I went down to assisting 4 days a week and taking clients 3 days a week. So it was nice because I still had like a steady kind of stream of income from assisting, but then could kind of build. And then probably after, I think, 2 years of being there, I was working like 7 days a week. And I just jumped right over to like a booth rent kind of side,
Yeah.
like a part-time booth renter there. And yeah, I
So
had a pretty good.
what's the timeline from first job assisting to where you are right now in the
Okay.
journey?
Yeah. So I assisted my very first salon about a year and a half. Then
Okay.
I moved to a different one, worked there for probably about 2.5 years. And I would say I was just an assistant there for maybe like 6 months to a year. And I learned even more. And I feel like it was during that time of assisting, I really fell in love with doing hair, and the environment that I was in. And I just felt like that was a place I was going to thrive. And I would say I assisted for about a year and then started taking my own clients kind of on the side under their, watch and kind of guiding me through them. And then I went down to I went to 3 days and went down to 4 days assisting versus 5. And then just was kind of like taking the stylist I was assisting, I would take her overflow clients. She actually had a baby during that time. So a
Oh,
lot of her
that's kind
clients
of
came to
perfect.
me. Yeah.
That's your
Uh-huh.
little breakthrough,
No,
your little
literally,
window.
yeah. A lot of her clients came to me, and we were like two of like the same person. Like our personalities were the same. We did hair the same. We just like she was like the a very big influence in my career early on. And so I think a lot of her clients trusted me, liked me. And so I think that really benefited me in a lot of ways. And I still actually do some of her clients still to this day that have kind of stuck with me.
I think that that is, kind of like the natural progression of
Mhm.
what's supposed to happen
Right.
as, you know, an apprentice or a new stylist coming out into the industry is
Right.
that, that's the beauty, I think, of it, in
Mhm.
that you can pretty much soak up everything like a little sponge, and
Yep.
then you become like an extension of the person who trained you. And so
100.
that becomes, your style. And so
Yep.
naturally, all of those clients trust you. And the goal is always, you know, the senior stylist always needs a backup. And
Yep.
at some point I have no idea why I have a lisp right now, but the water isn't helping. So we're just going to roll with this lisp. But I don't have one. So it's really weird. But anyway, You know, but that's the goal, is that eventually the senior stylist wants to retire and
Mhm.
send all of their clients to somewhere they trust. And
Yep.
so, yeah, it's, that's cool.
Yeah,
All
I
righty.
definitely.
So I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
Oh, you're good.
interrupt. Go ahead.
I was
When
just
did
gonna say,
you, so at that point is when you felt ready to get your own studio? Or
yeah,
how,
so
because now
I
you're in a beautiful little studio. And
yep,
she's not
so
in the cheap one like I am, by the way, everyone.
I love that. I was kind of just got to a point where Instagram, I mean, when I first started in the hair industry, social media wasn't what it's like today. And typically, you go and work in a salon and you kind of work commission and then build up your clientele and then kind of move on your own, essentially. But I think during this time, Instagram had really like blown up. And that was how I found honestly a lot of my clients was through Instagram and referrals. So I kind of like came to a point where I was like, what do I want my career to look like, I guess. And I
Yeah,
really wanted to have like my own brand, I guess. And I feel like at that time, you kind of have to go into like a suite, like in order to
yeah,
have your own brand and not be identified or grouped into like a salon, you kind of have to have like your own space, your own kind of, theme and kind of market yourself as
right.
however you want. So I think at that time it was right after COVID, I believe.
Mhm.
I was like, you know what? I want to like do my own thing kind of, and I
Yeah,
didn't really know what it looked like, but I knew what I wanted it to eventually get to. And
right.
so I just moved in to my suite a little bit after COVID, maybe like 2021. Honestly, it was like the best thing I ever did. I loved
Aw,
working in the salon. I loved like the environment of it, but I was like, you know what? You're gonna be just fine on your own. And I like having it be more of like an intimate setting. I think my clients feel super comfortable and yeah, it's
well,
been
you do
great.
amazing work and you're
Thank
always
you.
busy. So clearly it was your time. So let me ask you, what was the hardest part of setting up your new business for anyone, you know, because I always say with people coming out of beauty school, you want to jump all the way there.
Right,
You
right.
can't. And your journey, you did it perfectly. That's what you have to do. You have to pay your dues,
Yep,
and you did. And
yep.
you know, so once you got to this point, before you opened your beautiful little studio, what did you find to be a challenge in opening up your own business? Because it's very different, right?
Right,
Than
right.
making commission or working under someone as a 1099 or an employee.
Mm-hmm. I think that's such like a loaded question. There are so many things. I mean, honestly, the hardest part was the business side of things, like when you're in school, you're creative, you're learning, all things to do with hair, but you don't really learn how to have your own business and how to run it and how to,
Mhm.
do your taxes and kind of all of that. So luckily for me, I had amazing mentors that kind of helped me get set up and I could kind of follow in their footsteps. But I would say that was probably one of the bigger challenges for sure.
Mhm.
One hard thing for me was when I was moving in, a lot of furniture was on back order. So
Oh, yeah, the
I
supply
think it's like
chain.
just solely to me, but
Oh,
a lot of
yeah.
furniture was on back order, so I kind of just like made it the best I could with what I had. And I haven't changed it since. I feel like I'm like, you know what, it works for me. It's cute. My clients like it. So, that
And
was
you realize they don't care.
no,
Like,
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
they really want their hair done and they
Yep,
want it to feel beautiful at the
yeah,
end of the day. I mean, that's a bonus. And I
yep,
guess if you're bougie, that bougie,
right,
then,
right.
you know,
Yeah,
that's another
exactly.
story, right?
Kind of like my hardest thing was trying to figure out how I wanted it to look and all the things during a time like that. But
Yeah.
um I mean, luckily like all my clients followed me. My clients loved, the suite and all the things. So I would say the business side of it for sure. And then
You know, we say luckily they follow us because this question or this conversation came up in my last interview. I'm a product of Tony and Guy, and I worked with, I don't know how many of us there were, 60
Mhm.
of us, I don't
Right.
know. And it was new and happening when it opened. And, we had the EDM music, all the things, and everybody wanted to get their hair done there. So when I left, and then you go solo to this little
Mhm.
studio, you're like, who's gonna follow me? Like,
Right, right.
why would they? But they want you. That's
Yep,
why they go.
yep.
Just for you, your hands,
Yeah.
because if it didn't matter to them, they wouldn't request you every single time they came to your salon when you
Mhm.
worked at your bigger salon, right?
Right, right. Well, and I always
Yeah.
say like hair is like 40% the work you do and 60% your personality.
Oh,
I think
1000%.
clients, there's a stylist for everyone, and I think that's what keeps clients coming back to you is, when you build relationships, and then
Hmm.
it's like you're there for 3, 5, 6 hours, at a
Yeah,
time. So you want to enjoy the person that's doing your hair. And I think that's
1000%.
like a
Yeah.
big part of it too. So I guess it does make sense, but I think it's just one of those things every stylist in the back of their mind. There's like, oh my gosh, what if no one follows me?
Well, and then I think too, when people say, "Oh my gosh, it's so competitive out there,"
Yeah,
like when they come to our salon suite place and they say, "How many studios are these all hair?"
right,
Like,
right.
there's no competition because
Uh,
honestly, there's enough hair to go around, and as you said,
yeah,
people come to the person. That
right, for sure.
matters. And you
Yep,
end up building a rapport, and your clientele becomes just an extension of you. Like you
yep,
create your own little tribe.
yep,
And so
100%.
with that said, me and my list, when you left the environment where you worked with other stylists, did you find yourself at all missing that camaraderie that we get, where you can
Hmm.
bounce ideas off, you can see other people's work?
Right.
Although I must say, I feel we have that at
Yep,
Palette, kind of, even though we're
yep.
all separate, because I've definitely bent your ear a few times. And I'm like, okay, Kayla, I got this going on,
Uh-huh.
And
No,
so,
and I think that is exactly to your point. I think
yeah,
when I moved, I kind of had a fear, like if
yeah,
I would miss that salon environment. But
yeah.
anytime I have a question, I have, a list of people in my phone I could call and they would answer and be like, this is
Oh,
what you
that's perfect.
and I could, walk across the hall and ask someone, and I do, if I'm
Yeah.
doing something I don't know or, whatever. I always love to pick people's brains.
Well, and that's the
And
other thing in our industry is there's a lot of pride and ego,
mhm,
unfortunately. And we don't need to be gatekeepers,
right.
because anything that we're asking of anyone, it's not for your client, it's for
Yep.
my client,
Right,
right?
right.
So, but people feel like they have to hold, and I can't share, and I don't want to
Yeah,
tell, and it's like it shouldn't matter. It just makes our
right.
industry stronger when everybody does good work.
Yeah. No, I think I'm sure a lot of the girls at Palette could vouch for this, but anytime anyone needs anything, like everyone just comes in. They're like, "Hey, I need this shades,"
Oh,
or "Hey,
good.
I
I
need to
love
get your
that.
extension pliers." I'm like, "Yeah, take it. Take the
Oh,
cage,
that's
take whatever you need."
amazing.
But
I
I
love
love
that.
that. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about that. Your specialty, and your specialty is color and extensions. So
Hmm.
how did that come to be? What made you interested in that in particular versus hair cutting, for
Right.
example?
So when I was an assistant at my first salon, she did a lot of extensions, and I kind of learned by watching her. And one day she was like, "Hey, can you take out my extensions for me?" And I was like, I think so. And so I took them out for her, and then she was like, "Okay, I need you to put them back in." Like as like a
Oh,
joke. And I was like,
oh, you're
"You're
like, whew.
kidding." No, she
Yeah.
wanted me to put them back in.
Oh,
But
she was serious.
I think she knew I had watched enough and helped her
Okay.
enough that I knew how to do it, but I would never voluntarily do it. Or if she asked me to do it, I would say no. But she kind of
Hmm.
put me in like a tough situation, and she was like, "Come on, put him back in." And I did. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea like that just by watching, like I would have picked up on
Well, I
that."
know your hands were probably shaking. That's
Oh
your
my gosh,
mentor.
I know.
You're like,
Yeah. Well, and I don't know if it was how long after that was, but we actually had like an extension company come in and do like an actual training. And then I just kind of started doing them from her, and Then later on in my career, I kind of took matters into my own hands and took other extension classes and kind of furthered my education on
So
those.
what extension brands have you worked with, and what did you conclude that you were going to use in your studio?
I think the most successful method that I have used is the Jay-Z Styles like bead foundation method.
Really? I followed
Um,
her on YouTube during COVID. She's really good.
really? Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like there's so many methods out there nowadays and
So
everyone
many.
kind of has their
So
own
many.
thing. But I think at first, like the problems I was having, and I was like, I like them, but like there was, I had a few kind of complaints. And so when I went and got certified with Jay-Z, it kind of fixed all of those, and my
Oh,
clients loved it. And I've just never strayed away from it. It's like my tried and true. As far as like hair brands I use, I really like Intertwined Hair, which is also a Utah company. I use Jay-Z Hair, Habit or Easy Hair Pro. Those are like my top three that I use.
nice.
But yeah, I kind of got into extensions very early on. And then the second girl I assisted, she specialized in blondes, and she would use higher volumes on all of her clients. So I
Ah.
think subconsciously I got really used to
What do you mean by higher volumes? Like
like,
30
yep,
volume?
30
You
and
mean
40.
like developer?
Uh-huh.
Oh,
She would use
that
30 and
is
40.
so scary. But
So,
the hair remained in good health, and
yep. So
you
I
didn't have
think
any fatalities.
no. Honestly, I have no crazy horror stories, but I learned really quickly how to, I guess, work quickly when you're using that high of a
And
volume. But
you do, like, you have literally like 10,000 foils
no,
in
I know.
at any on any
Like
given day,
my
and
clients like, oh my gosh, I was so
and
fast.
then they're walking out all dry, and I'm still working. I'm like, wait, what am I missing?
So I
Jeez.
learned how to work really fast. And also I learned how far you can push hair. I think I got really comfortable with that. I learned, you know, how much you can push hair, when it's probably like, let's rinse this, and kind of what hair can handle, being pushed, and what
Yes.
kind of can't. So I think without me even trying, I became really comfortable with blondes. And I think especially being in Scottsdale,
Oh yeah.
so many
Land
people
of
are
the
blonde.
blondes.
Right,
Yeah.
right. So I think I just kind of naturally got really comfortable with blondes. And I feel like when someone comes in and they're like, I feel like I'm just not blonde enough, or whatever, I'm
And
like,
I
"No,
don't even
my
know,
hair's
like no one,
iconic."
I don't think anyone's blonde enough. I
Right,
just, I
right.
don't think it's possible, you
Uh-huh.
know?
Right.
Um, so with your training and your education, just in general, do you have a favorite, do you have a go-to, or do you just look to see kind of what inspires you? And do you take courses regularly? Do you
Mhm.
travel for them, or is it virtual? Like, how do
Yeah.
you
So
stay up to date?
so I try to take like at least like one or two hair classes a year. Last year I didn't take any. There was like none that really like stood out to me. And then this year I'm taking
Yeah.
I think, four in total. So I try to take a few. Some I travel for and try to, make a fun trip out of it. But some are here. And as far as what classes I take, some are blonde, like blonding classes, some are business classes.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
some are brunettes. I kind of take
I
whatever
was
I
gonna
feel
ask
like.
you that. Do you
Yeah.
do brunettes, or is it just
So I
blondes, or?
do. A lot of people will look at my Instagram and be like, I really want you to do my hair, but you don't do brunettes. And
Yeah.
I'm, no, I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but it's just not like what I post about.
Right.
But I do definitely quite a few brunettes as well. And I think I just love taking classes, even if it's not something that I'm going to use every single day behind the chair. I think if you can take away a few things from a class, it was worth it.
Oh,
Um,
for sure.
it
And
also,
I always ask this question. Do you implement the technique, or do you go, I don't want to try this on my paying client? So you fall back like me into what you actually know, and
Yep.
that definitely will stifle you. you
Yep.
know, because if you're not applying what you learned,
Mm-hmm.
what was the point, you know?
Right. I think a little bit of both. I definitely have like my go-to, foil patterns and placements and formulas and all that kind of stuff. But every time I take a class, I will either try like the color line that they're using, or like even if it's just for like a root or a toner, or the last class I took was hair by Mick, and obviously it was a brunette. So I had a client that was blonde and wanted to go brunette. So I was like, this is perfect. Because I think, especially when you're used to doing blondes, it's so easy when you have a brunette in your chair to just overfoil. Because
Yes.
you want to make
You
it
don't
known.
really know. You want the impact, but you don't
Yes.
know. Yeah.
Yep.
I went last year to Dallas to take a class by Color by Carlos,
Oh my gosh. How was it?
and he's a brunette
Yeah.
specialist. Amazing. He's
Yeah.
hilarious. I
Uh-huh.
mean, someday when I'm a famous podcaster, I'll be worthy and I'll
No,
because he was
literally.
no, he was super nice. I would love to have him on someday because he's just funny and
Right.
very like extremely talented.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
he specializes in brunettes, which I
yeah,
think
which
is
is so
cool.
interesting. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
taking a class that's not your everyday. You're
Yeah.
telling someone that this is what they do all day, every day, and you're like, oh my gosh, that's really interesting. Um,
Yeah.
I will have a client that will come in and I'll implement little things into what I already do. And I think that's for me, like the way I get the biggest takeaway is kind of like taking like my favorite parts of each class and each, educator and all the things and kind of making my own.
Well, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
The goal is not to mimic someone else, it's to
Mm-hmm.
make it your own and see
Yep.
how you can make it work and fit into your how you do things.
Right.
Would you say when you're training, if you are you a visual learner or are you more technical? Like I'm technical. I literally need you to hold my hand, walk me through all the steps. I need to see all of the mechanics. I
Mm-hmm.
can look at something for hair cutting and cut exactly what I see, but color, I need all the steps. I need all
Mm-hmm.
the things, the whole
I feel like I'm
the
the
training
opposite.
wheels.
Yeah.
You're the
Yeah.
opposite.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I think when it comes to color, I am visual. But I also like I listen to like the why. Like, for example, if I'm in a hair class and they're like, okay, this is why we're doing this, I'll listen to that. And it's not
Mhm.
going to click until I see the end result. And then once I see the end result, I'm like, oh, that's why they did that. Or, you know what I mean? So
Yes.
I would say probably a little bit of both.
Mm,
And yeah, I definitely think, I mean, after the extension story, I think I'm definitely more of a visual person for sure without even knowing it. But I definitely
right.
now, and just having more experience in the industry, I think I'm a little bit more both now.
Oh,
Like
I love that.
I
So you don't work with an assistant. Why and will you ever or why don't you?
I
Because you're super fast and you don't need one?
that's a great
Because you're
question.
like the Matrix?
I don't know. I definitely thought about it. I think at some point I definitely will. I think I don't know, a part of me is like I would need like a bigger space to do that.
Got you.
Which I'm sure it would be fine in the space I'm in right now, but even I get claustrophobic sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a little bit of that, and also just like the control aspect. I
I
think that's
have
like
that.
the biggest thing with
Yeah.
stylists is like
Oh, yeah.
um, kind of letting go of that control. But I've talked to so many stylists about it, and it's always scary at first. I think eventually I'll get there in my career, but so far I'm doing just fine.
Yeah, you're like, I
Trucking
don't need
along.
no help. So what any scary moments that you experienced at the beginning of your career? Did anything kind of scare you? Like, or because you look like you got this. I think this answer is going to be quick and easy.
I I think the scariest thing that I remember was my first week as like a part-time stylist on my own. Um, luckily I lived at home at the time, so my expenses weren't really anything. So I had the luxury of kind of transitioning a little bit slower. So I was um booth rental part-time. I had like 3 clients my first week, and they all canceled on me. And I just remember like being in the break room, like crying. 3 of my clients canceled and I was just sobbing and I was like, I can't do this. I like this isn't gonna work. And they were just like, Kayla, you're gonna be fine. Like, trust me, everything's gonna be fine. And it's scary in the beginning, especially
Yeah.
when you need all the clients you can get. When all of them cancel, I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're like, this did not just happen to me.
I was like, I
Yeah.
went on my own way too soon. I was way in over my head and just
You
kind of
know what? I
spiraling.
always say that's the universe's way of testing what you're made of. And when
Mhm.
you have a goal, you have your mind set on something, nothing can stop you from doing that.
Right. No,
So,
100%.
so with your client consultations, let's talk about that. Like how do you conduct a consultation to understand what a client needs and wants in a service?
Mhm. I think it's a little different depending on if it's a new client or an existing client. If it's a new client, typically I'll have them send me pictures of their hair, and
Mhm.
then inspo pictures and kind of like a brief hair history, and kind of go from there on, what I think is needed to achieve that. Um, a big question that I always ask is like, what do you hate about your hair? Especially
Mhm.
in a consultation with new and existing clients, like, okay, I can have a client that's been coming to me for, 2 years. And I'm like, they'll come in and I'm like, okay, is there anything we hate about our hair? And I think it just kind of opens the door for them to like look in the mirror and be like, is there anything I don't really like? And because I think sometimes people are afraid, or they don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
like, well, I don't like this, or I don't like, whatever.
Yeah.
So it kind of starts the conversation, and makes them feel comfortable. And then they'll be like, well, I don't really love, my face frame, or, this piece does this, or I want to be brighter on my face. And then that kind of gives me an idea of like, okay, do we keep doing the same thing, what we've been doing, or do we kind of need to tweak it? Because sometimes if people have been coming to you for a long time, those clients that just come in, you know what they want, you know what to do, sometimes they get bored or they,
And you forget
yes,
that.
yep,
It's like before you start talking about your weekend,
yep,
understand that they're here for their hair
right,
and
right,
in their circle of friends, they want to have the cutest hair. They want to have the
yep,
latest, greatest, you
mm-hmm,
know. And
right,
yeah, and we forget with like you say, not just new clients needing a consult, but every client.
right. Yeah, I think that is the biggest thing. And then also, if I go and take a hair class and I'm feeling inspired or I want to, try something new, I'll be like, oh, well, what if we do this? Or what if, we add a few lowlights in to make the blonde pop a little bit more? Just kind of like ask them, give them ideas. Cause sometimes clients don't even know that they want a change or something different
It's
and
true.
they don't
And
even know
they
where
and
they
they
would even
trust
start.
they trust you wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
And you can do, a change doesn't have to be major.
right.
A change could literally for a client
Hmm.
be you frame their face, just their face with layers and like, oh my God, like this is
Yes.
amazing. It's so
They're like,
different.
they're like,
Yeah.
this is the change I didn't even know I needed.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I think having a consultation with both new and existing, is super important. New clients, the biggest thing is, hair history.
Yeah.
Kind of like I'll ask them the maintenance that they want to have. Some of my clients come in every 8 weeks, some of my clients come in twice a year, so it
Yeah.
kind of asking them what their realistic, maintenance routine,
Yeah.
what they want that to look like will kind of determine the route that we go, how
Yeah,
realistic.
because lifestyle.
Yep.
If you have a client that says, I do yoga, I don't wear makeup, and I hike every weekend, well, please don't give them a high
Right,
maintenance
right,
service.
right.
They'll hate
100%.
you, literally
Yep,
hate you. Yeah.
yep. And I think along with every stylist, like the number one thing in this industry, especially with a consultation with a new client, is under promise and over deliver.
Right.
And I always try to be realistic,
Yeah.
especially like during like the Cowboy Copper era, that
Oh,
was
yeah.
last year. I had
Yeah.
so many clients still to this day. They're like, I kind of want to do this. I'm like, no, you will hate it. You can
Yeah.
barely come in, every
Yeah.
4 months now. You're not going to come in every two for this. So
It's true.
I think just being upfront and honest and kind of just telling them like, you will not like this. Trust me, you won't like the maintenance. And if one day you decide you do, then we can talk about it. But I'm very honest and realistic when it comes to expectations. So yeah, I think
And I'm sure they appreciate that about you.
100%.
So what strategies do you use to retain your clients? What would you tell a new stylist coming in, for retention? Because there are things that we should and shouldn't do. When gossip, like little
Right.
things that drive people away that it are outside of the scope of hair, or, you know, you can do things like, do you want to book your next appointment?
Yep,
Obviously, that's a go-to strategy.
yep.
But do you have anything that you do in particular, or is it just the norm,
I'm
kind
trying
of
to think.
what you do?
Yeah. I I have certain clients that do regularly pre-book and some clients that don't just because their schedule's all over the place. But now that I am, booking out almost like 1 to 2 months, my clients are kind of being forced to pre-book. But in the beginning, I
Ooh,
never,
1 to 2 months. It's time to raise your prices.
I know, I know.
That's what Carlos said. If you're booked
Really?
2 months, that's ridiculous. So you need to. I've been doing it too long. I do price increases, but at this point, I'm at the.
Right,
I'm gonna
right,
exit soon, so I'm not trying to. You know,
right.
but yes, as definitely when you're out 2 months,
Hmm.
at some point you either have to cut your rotation off and not
Yep,
accept new clients, or you have to raise your price and let people fall off,
right. Yeah,
right?
I've actually
Yeah.
been working, I've had a business coach for the last maybe 3 years.
Oh, good for you.
The business side of it, like I said, is like earlier being a harder thing for me. I want to focus on hair. I want to focus on being creative. All of
Yeah.
that kind of like the financial stuff is beyond me. So having
Yeah.
someone that can kind of help me, and that's her specialty, and she can tell me, what I need to do. I'm like, okay, perfect. And I'll implement it and do what she tells me to do, and then just
Well,
focus
I
on,
think I think that's a great strategy.
yeah,
Whatever you can't do, pass it on, and
right.
and that somebody will
Delegate it
appreciate
out.
that
Yeah,
advice. Yeah, for
right,
sure.
right.
So product selection, how do you have a favorite product line, and why is it your favorite?
Like color wise.
Color wise, style wise, a line like a home care line that you send your clients some with, like your shampoos, all the things.
So, styling wise, I love Unite. I've used
Yeah,
Unite
I see
probably
that. I've
for
never used it.
really, it's my
Mm-mm.
favorite. It's like my go-to. It's simple, easy, lightweight, does the job. And a
What's
lot of
their number one seller?
probably their 7 seconds line, their 7 seconds to Tangler is my
Oh,
holy
really?
grail.
Okay.
And that's just the one I've always kind of fallen back on. I'll kind of branch out and try new products, but that's what I carry in my salon is Unite.
I use
And
Virtue.
really,
Yeah, I like
I've never
Virtue.
heard of that.
Really?
No,
Oh, I'll give you a sample.
okay, I've never heard of
Yeah, it has a
that.
human derivative of keratin. It's
Oh,
the only
interesting.
line. Yeah, so because it's human derived, your body accepts it as its own, and it's in all the products. It literally is a healing line. So that's what I
Oh,
like about it. Yeah.
interesting.
But
No, I'll have to try
Unite
that.
is a popular one too. I got to check that one out.
Yeah, I love Unite for styling and that kind of thing. And then as far as colors go, I use Schwarzkopf, Redken, um, sometimes Wella, but typically just Schwarzkopf and Redken.
So you have yeah, I like Schwarzkopf and Reckon. Those are the
Mhm.
two. I love Vibrance. I
Yes,
think,
so do I.
and I like Vibrance by Schwarzkopf, even though I do have Agora. I
Uh-huh.
like, and for permanent, I prefer Redken's lacquer gel.
Interesting. I've
Hmm.
never used those. I just use
Oh, they're
Agora for
amazing.
color and
They're
vibrant.
so they're so rich. Like they're rich, they have good coverage, not too opaque and muddy looking,
Mhm.
lots of shine. Yeah,
That's good to know. Yeah,
yeah.
I use those are like my top two, my tried and true.
Those are your girls.
Hmm.
So when you're blonding, what is your go-to technique?
Um, it depends on the look I'm going for. Typically I always will kind of do super fine highlights. Some of my clients don't like they like their highlights all the way to the root. They don't like a shadow.
Mm-hmm.
Most of my clients, I would say, get like a little bit of a tap at their root just to kind of soften their root a little bit. And some clients like a more like shadowed root.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of depends on the look that I'm going for, but typically I just do like either the rainbow foil pattern if we're going for maximum blonde, and if we want to leave some dimension in there, I'll do like a traditional
Highlight.
the back, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
But
And how long does it take you for your signature look? Like your go-to, your everyday behind the chair? How much time are you spending on any one client?
I would say if my client doesn't have extensions, probably like 2.5 to 3 hours, typically at 2.5.
Yeah, that's
Um,
about right.
yeah.
Yeah. And can you share your approach to color correction, or do you take color correction? It's a
So
mess.
I know.
And me, like I was telling on my last interview, I just started doing color for the first time in 2020. I hadn't done it because I was in a departmentalized salon.
Yep.
That's how I came into the industry, working for Tony and Guy. And my old partner of 20 odd years, she retired in 2020, and she was the colorist.
Yep.
So, and I was like, oh my God. So that's why I pop into people's rooms, and I don't even
Uh-huh.
care if they say yes, no, you can help me,
Right.
don't help me. I don't care.
Right.
I'm asking,
Right.
because
Right.
this is 911 sometimes.
Right.
So,
Right.
anyway, I mean, I picked it up. I'm okay now. I'm not as fast as I like to be.
Mhm.
But it's a challenge. So for
Right.
me, I actually create color corrections for myself. That is why I'm so slow, because they come in again. I'm like, oh no, what now? I gotta,
I love that.
anyway, if I'm being honest.
I I definitely when I'm working, I'm thinking so many months down the line. I rarely do like basic, root touch-ups with permanent color on clients that want to have blonde highlights. I will always try to talk them out of it just because it's only going to shoot you in the foot when they come
Yeah,
in and you're trying to
true.
work through that band. Um, but typically, sometimes I will. It just depends on, I guess, the client. I do enjoy them sometimes because I think it kind of keeps you on your feet and you have to use your brain, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
the same thing every day. When I first started out doing hair, though, I would say so many of my clients were color corrections.
Oh,
So
really?
yeah, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I would just kind of, luckily, I had some mentors that would help me. But I feel like I learned really quickly kind of how to navigate color corrections and steps to kind of um, get the best result the quickest. But now um, I really don't do a whole lot of them.
No,
Um,
you don't want to take on someone else's problem, like not doing that. Yeah, I don't blame you.
sometimes I will if I have the time. But typically, I guess the way I go about color corrections, depending on how bad it is, a lot of times I will work it in phases. So I guess I did have a highlight that came to me when she got her root, like smudged, but it was with permanent. So then when she came to me and I put lightener on it, obviously it created kind of like a band. I'll have things like that happen, where obviously you kind of have to work it as if it was a color correction. But depending on like the budget and the time and things like that, I try to
Sure.
work it out over a period of appointments versus like
Right.
one big appointment. But sometimes you just need to do it in one appointment. So it kind of depends on the client and what I'm feeling, but I would say I do them sometimes.
Okay. And so with all the techniques, you have balayage, teasy lights, foliage, regular highlight, whatever, whatever. Do you do all of those things, or do you have, just a couple of things, baby lights and
Mhm.
do you do balayage? Do you do any of those things? None of that open air
No,
stuff.
typically, no. I feel like with my clientele, I all my clients wanted like the blonder the better,
Got you.
essentially.
You
So
need foil for that.
yes. Uh-huh. So a lot of mine, any color with lightener that I do typically involves foil. And I also enjoy it because you have more control that way. So typically I'm like a baby lights, highlights, foliage, that kind
And
of
are
thing.
you heat, no heat? Because you'll have
Mm.
the brand say no heat. It's all
Mhm.
over the place. But I'm like, how? Sometime we'll be here all
Right,
day.
right, right. So um
Low heat,
put my
but
clients, I do put my
yeah,
clients under heat, which I think some of them kind of get scared, honestly, but
yeah,
I'm like, you're
yeah,
gonna be fine. But because I think with where I kind of came from and what I was used to, I foil all of my clients with like 7 to 10, maybe 20 in the front. So I foil so low now, well, such a low developer now that
yeah.
like
Same.
using heat because I'm more in control. Whereas if
Yep,
I use like 20 or 30, their hair could be done processing by the time I'm even done with the
it's
front.
true.
So starting low and then kind of letting it process and see kind of how it's lifting. Usually I'll put them under heat for the last like 10, 15 minutes just to kind of bump it a little bit. But
Yeah,
I
that's
do,
smart.
yeah, there's a time and a place for heat for
For
sure.
heat, yeah. How do you feel about air touch?
So I actually took a class where he did air touch. Maybe it was like 3 years ago. I forget his name, but I learned
Is
air
he
touch.
like the air touch god guy? The
No, it
one,
was not
a different
Daniela.
guy.
Um,
Okay. Oh,
but it
you
was
know his name.
someone,
I can never remember his name.
I think that's
Daniela
how you say it.
or
Don't quote
something.
me on
Yeah.
that. Yes. But it wasn't him. Oh my gosh, I'm the worst. But he did it. He worked like alongside. That's kind of like his thing too, is more of like an air touch
I
look.
think it's really cool.
It's
Like
amazing.
it's so natural.
I think for me, um, like, and for a lot of stylists behind the chair, it's not super realistic.
Well, I
Um,
was gonna say I'm already like a turtle. Like
right,
let me
right.
add some air touch and they're gonna be in there till midnight. Like I
I know. I think he said he spends maybe like 6 hours on a client. And
ooh,
so you definitely get what you pay for, but also like typically clients don't have time to come in and, have you pick out a section, put the blow dryer up, foil it, and kind of do all of that. But I think it's definitely um a great method. And even just like learning how that works, you still,
mhm.
even if you don't use it every single day, like that
I
technique,
think
you
I
still
think it
kind
would
of
be
take little
cool.
things.
Exactly. I think it would, sorry to interrupt you, but I think it's cool. I think it would be cool to do it partially, like do
Yep,
it instead of baby lights, do it
yep,
around to frame the face or in the crown or something and just go your
100%.
regular, right? Wouldn't that
Right.
be?
Yeah. No,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really interesting because when you are using the blow dryer in the section, all of those like little hairs kind of come out.
Yeah.
And so the strongest hairs are the ones that you're lightening. And it's almost kind of like when you're teasing the hair too, it
Yeah.
kind of helps you get rid of the pre-lightened hairs or the
The
hairs,
week.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
that you don't wanna to lift again. So it's even interesting just kind of thinking like how that technique applies to even like something like teasing.
Oh, for
And you kind of
sure.
get a similar, blended look, like the end goal is.
Absolutely. I mean, thank God for the person who came up with teasy
I
lights. That
know.
was genius.
I know. Change
So,
the game.
so this is random but relevant. Do
Okay.
you tone for the full 20 minutes?
Very rarely. I
Okay.
I will put on my toner. A lot of times I'll mix my Redken with clear just to kind of again give me control over kind of how
Yep.
it lifts, especially with blondes. Some are more porous than others. Um, But no, a lot of times I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna step away. Like my clients probably have picked up on it by now, but anytime I put the toner on, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I cannot watch it. If I watch it, I'm
Oh, if you watch it,
yeah,
like, what, 5 minutes
right. I'm
becomes
like, oh my
like
gosh, I have
30,
to go
30
right now.
seconds. Yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'll like go walk around, like not think about it, and then I'll come back, look at it, and then kind of like gauge it. Typically, I would say my toner's on for like 5 to 10-ish minutes.
Okay.
So yeah,
I mean, of
fairly
course,
deployed on me.
TikTok, they all leave it on for 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you're like, yeah, right. I mean,
No,
maybe you
literally.
maybe you do. Maybe you do. No
Right,
shade.
right,
No shade, light shade.
right.
What are your thoughts on current trends? Like for instance, now we're seeing gold and toner, which scares me to death.
Yep.
To brighten blondes. Like, have you implemented that into your formula?
100%. I think
Really?
a lot of my clients do kind of change as the trends change, which I love. I mean, when everyone was super icy blonde, a lot of my clients were, wanted that. And then as kind of like the old money blonde came in, everyone was like, okay, I want this. And then, the Scandinavian hairline was a thing for a little bit with
Wait,
blondes.
what is that? What is
Scandinavian hairline is where at the shampoo bowl you kind of take the little baby hairs kind of around your face and just apply lightener to those at the bowl. Obviously the hair's super fine, it's going to lift really fast, but then when you put your hair back, it kind of just makes it look more seamless
Oh, nice.
instead of like
Okay.
just like the foil line, of the hair
Oh,
going
got
back.
you.
So it's kind of just like an added step of like detail work, I think. When I was an assistant at the very first salon, she would do that. So I think it's something that's probably been around longer than people think, but no one didn't have a name for it, and it
Everything's
didn't
been
blow up on
around.
TikTok
Yeah.
yet. Yeah.
Everything's
Um,
been around. Like even the smudge and all of that. We
yep.
did that in 1990,
Right.
whatever.
Right.
98.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think my clients definitely kind of change with that.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been one to add a little bit of warmth to any of my
Okay.
blondes just to kind of keep them bright because I think the number one
Now what's the rule behind that and how does gold keep it bright
so
without making it look warm,
right.
like
Um, so like in I guess, well, on a baseline, warm tones reflect the sun, ashier tones absorb it. So when you think of a blonde, like so many blondes are like, well, my hair just looks dull. Or like if they use purple shampoo all the time, they're like, my hair isn't bright anymore. How do I get it
yeah, looks
brighter?
gray. Yeah.
Yes. And the biggest thing is adding a little bit of warmth into your formula. And especially when you're toning warm, obviously, you want to kind of you want the warmth to be intentional, and I think that's where
Correct.
it's kind of scary because so many people are like, well, I don't want it to be brassy, I don't want it to be yellow. So then when you're toning warm, you're like, okay, well, aren't I just making you
Right. Is this
yellow? Yeah,
counterproductive?
yes.
Yeah,
But I
exactly.
think there's a difference between intentional warmth and brassy hair.
For sure. Cause that was
But
like
I think
that buttery blonde. It's
yes.
still bright, but it's not
Yep.
ash per se.
100%. And
Okay.
I think as my clients have become okay with accepting, toning their hair on a little bit more on the warmer side and they feel so much brighter, they like become addicted to it. Because they're like, oh my gosh, I feel so much brighter. And I tell my clients like don't overuse purple shampoo, like maybe use it twice a month. And there was a time where any blonde would come in and you could see the purple shampoo build up. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
why your hair looks so dull and
Yeah,
dry.
exactly. Well,
Um,
that's one of the products that Virtue has. It's called debrassing
uh-huh.
shampoo, and they have a color kick mask, and it has a little bit of pigment in it, but it pulls the purple out.
Oh, really?
The residue of purple shampoo.
Oh,
It's I'm gonna
interesting.
bring you a little sample
Yeah, no,
because if
definitely.
you get nothing else, definitely get that
Right,
one.
right.
So, Kayla, what trends are you over and what do you see coming next?
Honestly, I think as far as like being over a trend, I think I kind of talked about it earlier, like the cowgirl copper or cowboy copper,
Yes.
whatever that was. That came and went really fast. I was not a fan of it, but I also don't specialize in reds. Um,
Right.
I think it got to the point where I was like, if this is what you want, I'll refer you to someone who does. Um,
Yeah.
but what do I think is coming? I don't know. That's a great question. I think it's hard with blondes because it's kind of ever changing.
Yeah.
Sometimes, they want to add a little bit of dimension. Sometimes they want to be super, super blonde. I think though, all in all, we are getting away from like the, super blonde highlights all the way to the root, no root shadow, super high maintenance. I think we're kind of
Right.
phasing away from that.
Yeah.
Um,
So you
but
think that roots are here to stay?
I think so. I
Yeah.
think they
I hope
compliment a
so.
lot of
I hope
people. Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. Because that's good. And
Hmm.
anything that you would change about our industry that are we good as is?
That's a great question. I think obviously like with our industry, everyone thinks like there's so many hairstylists and it's such a big industry, which it is, but it's also a very small industry too. And everyone
Very
kind of knows
much so.
everyone. Um, I think the biggest thing is just like continuing to support, everyone and um kind of always keeping that, like holding
Yes.
yourself to that standard of um just being like the best version of the people in the industry, because I think that goes way farther than the drama.
I agree. I mean,
I
when
think that
people
would be something.
start bashing the person they were at before me,
Yep,
I don't support that
yep,
because I'm like, yeah, you're gonna do it to me. I mean, you're
yep,
just gonna go to the next chair and I can't, I'm on this team,
right,
hairdresser team,
right.
right?
And
And I
there's
always say we're artists and we all
yeah,
have our different point of view. You can't
yeah.
tell an artist they're wrong,
Right. And there's so many
right?
TikToks of, people getting their hair messed up or,
Yeah.
not being happy, but it's like you weren't there. Like, I need to see the consultation. I need to see
Yeah.
the hair history. Like, there's so much that goes in behind it. So
Well,
to kind of
and
bring
you may have
accountability.
gone to someone that charges $10 for a haircut.
Yep.
Like who are
Yeah.
they may be at the very beginning. They may have been in beauty school. I mean, you don't know the
Right. There's
context
so many factors.
behind the outcome. Yeah, and again, we have to be supportive and that's what this channel certainly is about so
Mhm.
that anybody new cuz I love the newbies. I always say that they can hop on and just have a friend in the
Right.
business,
Right.
right?
100%.
So do you have any mentors in your career? Is it the first person you worked for? And, pretty much, I think I already know the answer. How have they influenced your work?
I think definitely it's a mix of, the two women that I assisted. And also, I think as far as the mentor goes, there was a gentleman at the very first salon I worked at. He has owned salons, worked in salons, and everything in between. And he kind of took me under his wing a little bit, and obviously he wasn't my boss, so I feel like I was more comfortable, venting to him or, asking
Yeah.
questions and just kind of anything and everything about the industry, and I still talk to him to this day.
Oh, that's
I would say he's
amazing.
like the
What's his
biggest
name?
mentor. He's Patrick for hair on Instagram.
Oh, I love
Um,
that.
yeah, he knows everything there is to know about hair. So I think finding people in the industry that you look up to, and if I had a client like you were talking about, I needed a 911, he would be who I would call. Like, what do I do?
Well,
And
Patrick, if you want to come on this channel and tell your story,
he would be
please,
great.
please call me, DM
Uh-huh.
me at Hair Genius Academy.
Yes,
All
he would.
righty. So your work-life balance, how do you manage that? Do you let your clients work you or do you work the job?
I go in waves. I think this is something that stylists, at least me personally, will probably struggle my whole life with that
Yeah,
work-life balance. I go through phases where sometimes I'm like, really, all I want to do is work, and other times I'm like, oh my gosh, I need a break.
yeah.
But luckily I do enjoy working. So I'm trying to find the best balance, but I think I've done a pretty good job at managing it, but I think it definitely is something that you're going to constantly be, as
Struggle
your
with.
life kind of goes through seasons and it'll be a work in progress for.
Yeah. Forever. Just depends
Yeah.
on who you are. What
Yep.
advice do you have for someone starting out? If you can give them one piece of advice, what would it be?
I would just say definitely assist, and really pay attention to the environment that you're in, because that, you know, is so crucial, especially in the beginning stages. Make sure you surround yourself with the best people, the best mentors, the best energy. And I
Oh, I
think
like that. Best energy.
successful.
What are your future plans in the industry? Do you foresee yourself being a salon owner with multiple stations? Do you see yourself being an educator, working for a brand, or is this your career for the long haul? Because a lot of people used to be hairdressers,
Right,
right?
right,
And I can't even tell you how many people I meet. And I'm like, what do you mean you used to be? I could do
right,
this for the rest of my, literally
right.
until I die if I could, right?
Yep.
So,
I think future for me, I really do like where I'm at now. Like I said
mhm.
earlier, the potential of getting a bigger suite, maybe with like 5 stations or something along those lines, I think would be good for me.
But in palette, right?
Yeah,
Staying.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like, no, you can't ever leave.
I know. Yeah, I've never really seen myself as a salon owner. When I think of my life, 15 years from now, being a wife and a mom is kind of my journey. So I think,
Oh,
obviously just like going to work, doing good hair and going home and
can we get into your personal life just real quick? Like, do you have
yeah,
a boyfriend? Do you have a man? Do you have a husband?
not, no,
No, you're
I
single
know,
and
I know.
gorgeous.
I
Okay.
know. It's so fun though. My clients love like my dating stories,
Oh,
and like
I
every
bet.
time they come in, they're like, do you have a boyfriend? But it's like an inside joke with especially my high school clients. Like if you come in having a crush on a loser, you're gonna leave not liking him anymore, because I feel like I'm so picky. And I'm like,
That's
you have the
awesome.
highest standards here. You're gonna walk out with the best hair and the best like mentality and
And hold your
yeah.
head up high.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I am single. I feel like I'm just in like a season where I'm focusing on work and kind of bringing that up, and yeah,
And
we'll see what
what
happens. Yeah,
matters. And that's
right.
how we make a living,
Yep.
and generational wealth and the legacy that we create and leave, not only for the industry, but for ourselves.
100%.
You don't know who you'll become in, 10 years from now. Who knows? Can have your
Right.
own product line. Don't know.
Yep.
Well, thank you so much for this interview. Now I
Of
get to
course.
have fun with you, learn so much about you. Very interesting. You did everything by the book. I mean, that's exactly, if I were to pass down any advice, I would do it exactly the way you started, because you didn't miss any steps. And that's
Right.
why you have the success that you have so
Hmm.
early on in your career. So, at the end of each segment, I like to do my little fun rapid fire that I call the 60-second blowout. I know it's so corny
Okay,
that I
perfect.
had to keep it. All right.
I love it.
Uh, and so, yeah, it could be hair related or not.
Okay.
And this is the point where also I put on my big old giant glasses. So here we go.
Amazing.
Yay, let there be light. All right. 60-second timer. I'm going to set it. And then here we go. You answer as quickly as you can, just off the cuff.
Okay.
All right. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Balayage or foliage?
Foliage.
Travis or Taylor?
Taylor.
If you had to eat one meal every day for a month, what would it be?
Um, Chipotle.
Animals or humans?
Animals.
Netflix or music?
Music.
Gym or hiking?
Gym.
Gold or silver?
Silver.
Messy or neat?
Messy.
Foils or open air?
Oils.
Makeup or hair?
Mm, Makeup.
What if you woke up and you were a man?
Oh my gosh. I actually would love that. I would love to to spend one day in the male brain.
That is 60 seconds. Good job.
Yeah.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Kayla. It was so nice to chat with you and learn all about your story. I'm sure you're going to help a lot of people. Appreciate you. And maybe at some point you can come on and share a technique or two.
Mhm.
We'll see how it goes. I
Of
may
course.
pop
Thank
into
you.
your studio and show them just a little trick or two.
Yeah, definitely.
All righty, my dear. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I will
Okay.
see you around.
You
Bring
sure will. You'll,
your samples.
what'd you say?
Bring
Oh,
me the
yeah,
samples. Okay. Thank you so
definitely. Bye,
much.
love.
All right,
Bye.
bye.